We are so close to being done with this stocking, so this is the final step to finish it up. You're going to take your cuff and your stocking, and you're going to put the cuff inside it with the right side of the cuff, this is the velvet, facing the lining of the stocking body. So that might seem counterproductive or counterintuitive because this is what it's going to look like when it's finished, but yes, you're just sliding it right in. And match up the side edges, side seams. Now, if you have embroidered something on the front of your cuff, just make sure you have it facing whichever the front side of your stocking is. I'm going to clip this side as well, and then I'm going to clip the sides. And what I find is I generally have to kind of stretch this to get both of them flat, and sometimes you might even need to stretch the outside a little bit and ease in the cuff. That usually is just if you used a very thick fabric for the cuff. Since I use velvet, sometimes I kind of have to ease it in. This turned out pretty perfect. All right, I'm gonna now sew it together. And I lengthened my stitch length a bit because this is going through a lot of layers. And I'm gonna sew all the way around. And I'm gonna go very carefully over this cuff, and I go back again. I have to hand crank it right here, or at least I did. I'm gonna finish up this. I've got kids coming home from school, so there might be some noise. I'm gonna sew all the way around. And you have one more seam to sew. So pull the cuff outward and push this seam downward. And for this step, we're going to sew from the inside of the stocking. I even lengthened my stitch a little bit more because this is another thick seam. And just take this slow, especially if it's pretty thick for you. Because I sew with a lot of velvet, this is the step that has broken many needles. So that's one of the reasons that I take my hanger loop and I do it 3 layers instead of 4. I also go slowly here. Oops. And sometimes I do have to hand crank it and kind of push it through a little bit. I don't ever have this issue when I'm not using velvet. It's just the thickness of the velvet. And as I go, I just keep pushing the seam flat. So then after you clip your stitches, or clip your threads, you are all done. So now you just fold your cuff down and push the top edge into place. And here is the finished stocking, all ready to go. Now I will probably go and press this one more time to make sure that it stays flat. And then I just check this inside edge and make sure it's all how I want it to be. Not all up like that. Make sure it's all sitting nicely. And the stocking is done. So thank you for sewing with me today.